So I was trying to decide what today's discussion was going to be on. And it occurs to me that we haven't talked about transparency and ethics and kind of the whole problem with how we grow our politicians. And we haven't talked about that in a while. So I figured we'll spend a few minutes talking about that again. And if anybody happens to come and join us, you can ask a question in the comments and we'll take questions. And if you have any questions, please send it to questions@justforassembly.com and I will come on and answer them live like we always do. You can send them to the Facebook page and we can also do that. So when you run for office, and we've talked about it before, you kind of get a playbook, essentially. Here's how you build a political career. And they give you the handful of steps you need to take over the course of 3 to 5 years to build what they call power bases. This is nothing unique among any political party. They all do it, and even independent candidates have their own version of it. There's nothing unique about any political party. And in fact, there's nothing inherently wrong with the process. Becoming part of your community, joining local boards and homeowners associations, and as myself, I'm part of the Sacramento Public Access. And I think I let my membership expire. I got to look into that. But there's a point to all that where you become part of your community. The problem with it is when everybody does the same thing, what you end up having is people having and protecting their power bases. You have groups of people who you look to and who look to you for help and support. And over the course of time, as you build more of these coalitions, what happens is you serve those coalitions rather than your whole community. And no one does it on purpose. It's kind of an accidental thing. It's the nature of politics. And it's fine if some of your politicians are grown that way. But when most of your politicians are grown that way, you've created the conditions that we have now, where politics is more of a team sport than a public service. You have people who go in with the greatest of intentions. They want to serve. They want to be a politician because they want their communities to be better. But on the process of doing that, they forget that they have to serve all of their community. The people who disagree with their ideology, the people who don't want to be engineered socially the way they think society should go. And these people are often dehumanized. And so they can be easily dismissed. Oh, they're just those other people. In the modern days, you could get dismissed as a bot or as someone who's paid, an Uber plant, I was called the other day. And individually, these things aren't such a big deal amongst average people. But when this attitude permeates the political process, when so many of our politicians exist to promote their ideology, not their constituents, we have a problem. We have a problem where large chunks of the people don't feel heard, and because they don't have groups with money backing them, they can't be heard. And so when that happens, we as voters need to make sure we look outside the political process and put people in place who can be that voice, who can listen to people who have not been heard. And it's true, it can go wrong. No one has to do anything but look at our politics of the day to see that, it doesn't always go right. But it goes right more often than we think. But what isn't going right is doing the same thing. The political process is broken. The only way this type of task lands on a desk like mine is because the political process is broken. And so when I look at this and I say what we need is radical transparency, it's not my ideology that we need. It's not my libertarian views that we need. That's just basic ethics. I don't sit here and talk about my libertarian leanings very much because right now it's not important. Right now it's fundamental transparency and ethics. That shouldn't not be an ideological problem. It shouldn't be an ideological issue. It shouldn't be a party issue. We have to change mindsets. And this is true. When we get to mindsets, my ideology will always color my perspective. But I'm aware of it. And I'm willing to be transparent. And I'm willing to have continual conversations so you can make sure I don't only service my viewpoint. The job of a representative is not to impose their worldview on the world. It's to absorb and reflect their constituents. It is quite literally an impossible task. But the honor is in the attempt. And the reason the political process is no longer honored is because there's no longer an attempt. How do we go from here? We vote different. We vote for people who are willing to be transparent, who are willing to be ethical. Whether we agree with them or not, honorable disagreements can be dealt with. Unethical people cannot. Thank you for your time. Love everybody, and good night.